I was beating my head with officials of this union and members of this union in diving, beating our heads about the pushback on seeking greater regulation. And exactly what we'd been saying and allaying as our concerns happened. And it happened to Jared. There was an immense sense of guilt. We were saying it was going to happen and it happened. Jared Hampton was a young 22-year-old. So Jared was given a short training course in a swimming pool, doesn't take into account the visibility, tides, all of those things in the real environment of pearl diving. There was no procedures on board the vessel. On his second day of diving, he got into trouble and that trouble cost him his life. Pasquale entered the court in Broome, pleaded guilty and was fined $60,000. So here's the question. An industry that lobbies to make sure that it is not regulated, fails to provide safe systems of work, kills a young 22-year-old Australian, gets fined $60,000 when a union stops for 4 hours can be sued for $14 million. You tell me, is there an imbalance in justice in this country? I think so.
He made it to the surface, alerted the crew that he was in trouble, and it took them nearly 20 minutes to get him back on the boat. And there was no means to get him back on the boat. They were floundering about in the water and hauling him up by his rope. They dragged him along behind the boat because the boat couldn't stop immediately. So the boat's still drifting along and they're dragging him in by his air hose with his face down in the water. Jared had no chance if he was in trouble, none whatsoever, and they had nothing there to help him. No water rescue plan procedure at all.
They should have wanted to know what had happened to Jared as fast as they could so that they could put in place things that couldn't happen again.
So I reached out to the family to give genuine condolences and to let them know of the work that we'd been doing. And I felt that we'd failed them. And they were really positive. They came on and said, don't stop the work, keep doing the work, and we would like, if we can in any way to help, we would like Jared's death to mean something to the industry and to divers to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. We're not walking away. Our intention is, and we've made those calls, to re-regulate the pearl diving industry and make it safer. We've also seen 3 divers die at training schools in this country. Now the system is failing. 3 divers in the last 12 months have died in a controlled environment in swimming pools. Why? Because corners are being cut. And even after these deaths, the government comes out through its government agencies and further seeks to attack the safe work systems and the regulatory regime of divers to the point they announce they intend to merge the regulations for general diving with those that are associated with high-risk diving. And the unions opposing that will continue to oppose it. We want to see the industries that have gotten away with any regulation being brought back in and forced to be regulated to make sure that these deaths do not occur in the diving industry.